Today I'm going over some tips on getting the most out of your fragrances. Get ready for some do's and don'ts when it comes to your cologne. Welcome back, fellas. It's Robert, your everyday gentleman, and as you can see, I kind of like cologne. Some might say I'm a bit of a frag head, but there's a few things you need to know when it comes to cologne to make sure your frag game stays on point. Let's jump into it now. Now, when it comes to proper application, there's a number of things that you need to consider. The reason I have so many scents is because each scent has its different use. Some scents are made for certain seasons or certain temperatures, certain occasions, even certain times of day. Wearing a scent that's made for cold weather, like this Spice Bomb Extreme, for example, if you wear this in the middle of summer in the high heat, you're basically gonna kill everybody that's standing around you. Now, once you decide on the appropriate scent for the occasion or the event that you're attending or date, whatever it is, you need to know how best to apply that cologne. Our bodies have pulse points, which are the best locations to apply that cologne. These areas hold higher heat and are the best for maximizing the performance of your cologne. Now, before you apply the scent to those pulse points, you want to make sure your skin is moisturized. You want to make sure you apply lotion. Some people actually apply Vaseline to the locations that they're going to spray their fragrances. The reason that you want to do this is because if your skin is dry, that scent is going to absorb into your skin and it's not going to last you as long. So if you're making sure that your skin is prepared for when you apply that scent, you're going to make sure that that cologne performs at its maximum. Now, I like to use fragrance-free lotion. I think that's always best because you want to make sure that you don't have mixing smells or different fragrances, because a lot of lotions will have some kind of fragrance in it. I like to make sure that my lotion doesn't. For example, I use this Lubriderm fragrance-free, just daily moisture. It's a basic lotion, but the thing that I like most about it, obviously, is that it's fragrance-free. And again, you don't have to worry about mixing of the scents or anything like that. So now that you have your skin ready, your scents ready, everything is ready, now it's time to actually spray the cologne. But how much is the proper amount to spray? Now, that's a difficult question to answer because honestly, every scent is different. And the cologne is actually going to be a little bit different on everybody's chemistry. What I recommend, if you have a brand new scent that you're trying out, is apply 2 sprays, one behind each ear. I'm not spraying it because I'm already wearing something else. Apply to the back of your ears, like I said, and just go for the day like that. Let that sit, see how that is, especially like, again, if you're wearing something really strong like Spice Bomb or Parfums de Marly Layton, something that's a really strong scent. Sometimes one spray is plenty and that's gonna perform and project outside of your body. If you ever apply too much cologne, you can take a very, very pleasant scent and turn it into something extremely offensive. If that thing projects out a mile away before you actually walk into a room, that's not good. You want the scent to be something that's close to you. I like the scent to be something that is smelled when I'm walking by somebody in close proximity, or if I'm going to give them a hug, saying hello, whatever it is, they can catch a whiff of that. That's really what you want the cologne to do. You don't want it to be something that's announcing your presence in the room. So you basically give it a little test run, see how it feels. See if you continue to smell it. The reason it's nice behind the ears is because you don't get what's known as olfactory fatigue, where if you have it, especially on your chest, you're gonna be smelling that all day long, and then your nose will basically adapt to that smell and you'll stop smelling it, even though in reality, that scent is still there. And what may happen is you may apply more thinking, well, I can't smell it anymore, but it's really still there. And again, you've oversprayed the cologne. Now, one thing you want to make sure you avoid and you never do is what's known as a spray jump. I'm not sure if there's a technical term for it, but it's basically where you take a cologne bottle, spray it in the air, and you jump into it, trying to get that cloud, that scent cloud all over you. Don't do that. There's really 2 reasons why you don't want to do that. One, you're not applying it to your pulse points where you're going to get the most out of that cologne, the most longevity, the best performance. Number 2, you're wasting a lot of it. Most of it's getting on the floor. It's not being used properly. And if you're spending 20 bucks like I did on this Unforgivable by Sean John, which is a nice smell, I like the cologne, obviously, that's why I bought it. But it's 20 bucks. So, if the majority of that comes out on the floor, may not be that huge of a deal to you. But if you're spending 400 bucks on a Creed Aventus or a Creed Viking or another niche cologne that is really, really expensive, that's a lot of money that you're spraying on the floor. Now, the other thing you want to make sure you avoid when you're spraying is this thing or this thing. Rubbing or patting that cologne is going to break down the molecules much faster, and it's going to make that cologne die out much sooner than it really should. Now, spraying the cologne on clothing isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's just a couple things that you need to be aware of. Fabric is a very good base layer for fragrance. It actually holds a scent a lot better than on your actual skin. Your clothing doesn't alter the smell or mix it up like it does on your skin, but you do need to be aware of the fact that fragrance has oils, and depending on the type of fabric you're spraying that fragrance onto, you could potentially stain that clothes. So what I recommend is, depending on the type of shirt or whatever it is that you're spraying, apply it to a space that's inconspicuous, somewhere that you can hide it if it does get stained. Apply a little bit to it, see how it is. Now, it may not happen right away, but over time, if you continue to spray, especially the same spot, you're gonna see a buildup in oil. So that's just something to be aware of, but spraying on your clothes isn't necessarily a bad thing. Now, finding the right cologne for you, if you want a signature scent, or if you're looking for something specific for an occasion, a date, wedding, whatever it is, can be a lot of fun, but it can also be overwhelming. But there's a number of ways to simplify this process and also avoid spending a ton of hard-earned cash. Firstly, do not blind buy cologne. Regardless of whether you watched a review on YouTube for a cologne or you got a recommendation from a friend, make sure you put your nose on that scent before you actually take your wallet out and pay for a bottle that you may end up hating. This leads to my next point, which is to get samples. There's a number of ways that you can get samples. You can go to an online retailer. There's certain subscription services that will send you monthly subscriptions. Little decants, which is a little like a travel atomizer like this. These are ones that I buy and I make myself. Just makes it easier when I travel with my fragrances. I don't have to take the full bottle and I can take a few different ones. But there's some subscription services that will send those to you, different ones, so you can try it out for, you know, a good 30 days or whatever it is that they offer. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is there's online retailers that sell these decants, and you can just buy them as you need them, not necessarily sign up for a monthly subscription. They sell you anything from these decants here to little sample bottles that you see. The other thing you can do, which is my personal favorite, also the cheapest because it's free, is go to your local department store, Nordstrom, Sephora, and ask a representative to make you a little sample. Usually they do that gladly without any problems. As long as you're not going in asking for 5, 10, 15 different samples, yeah, they'll make them for you, not a problem. Now this is great because it allows you to actually test drive this cologne on your skin for multiple days, multiple uses, to see how you like it, how it works with you and your body. So it saves you the money of having to go out and spend on a full bottle because you're giving it a shot with that little sample. Now the last thing to remember, now that you've purchased a couple bottles, whether it's one bottle for your signature scent or a couple bottles if you're building a collection like I am, is to make sure you store those properly to make sure you get the most life out of them. If you keep a cologne bottle in your car and you get that high heat buildup, especially in the summer months, or you put it in your bathroom and you get that high humidity from the shower, these are environments that are going to break that cologne down, break down the molecules, and it's just going to kill the life of your cologne and also even alter that scent, so it's not going to smell the same anymore. The other thing you want to make sure you avoid is putting it in direct sunlight. Now this room here is typically pretty dark. It's well lit right now because I have lighting for the video, but typically it's pretty dark and obviously dry, and that's what you want. You want a dark, dry place. Just do what you can to make sure that cologne is well protected. Now there's a number of other topics we can discuss when it comes to cologne. Everything from like designer versus niche to my favorite scents to product breakdowns and things like that. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos when they come up. Remember to hit like if you enjoyed this video. And also remember, being a gentleman is an everyday thing.